Welcome to Amsterdam Windmill 2025, and you are watching right here on Ultiworld the mixed division 4th round, moving in deeper into the Swiss round. We've got two at the very top of the table. PUC taking on Quijotes Dulcineas. My name's Stefan Rapazzo, alongside Benji Reese, bringing you the action. Benji, we're getting into some heated competition here now.
We are indeed. It's the point of the tournament now where the rankings have begun to even themselves out a little bit. There's a bit more data in there, and until those first couple of games have gone out the way, everything's very much in flux. But now with 3 games under their belts already, you're beginning to get a feel for the shape of the tournament as a whole, which teams you expect to go into bracket play tomorrow afternoon, and which teams we're going to be maybe looking at lower down the standings to continue their Swiss draw play. There you see the rankings. PUC currently home, top of the rankings by, let's be honest, a pretty significant margin, over 4 points already after 3 games. As it goes on, of course, that will develop for Quijotes Dulcineas. They're in third, 7.68. Look at there, there's quite a lot of French representation. We've got Frisbee in the top as well there. You've got a couple of Spaniards as well. Quijotes alongside Guayota. ZU from Switzerland. Tiki Taka from Dubai. Nice seeing them out here. Savage from Poland, and Leftovers from the Czech Republic round out the top 8.
We'd love to see it. I mean, I still think you can see quarterfinalists that are still outside the 12 or in and around the 12 as this tournament progresses. There's still time to sift your way through and to punch up in the Swiss draw. But it is looking pretty good. They're starting to separate at the top here, and right now this is a great battle for the 1 versus 3. PUC have been outstanding. You see Lamboles, Fellman, Emma Sexton in the picture, but a tidy roster they've got here. Quijotes Dulcineas, Benji, it's the first year they've medaled in all 3 divisions in the Spanish League.
Well, not just that, 2 teams taking home medals at the Spanish Mixed Championships. Their first team captured the silver medal and bronze for their B team, which is a hell of an achievement.
So Quijotes, as with Dulcinea, as with most of Spanish Ultimate, on the rise. Certainly a case in this club here.
Yeah, with Quijotes, thinking about the Open Division at EUCF last year, they captured a famous victory in the pool play phase over Clapham. They missed out on the top 8 in the end. It didn't quite work out for them as a whole, and I think they finished in 15th place in the end, really low down the rankings.
Yeah, that was the shock.
15th, 13th, maybe 14th, something around the bottom end of the division. But I think they showed that on their day, they really can hang with some of the top teams on the continent. I think that's been proved. The fact that they're all third after 3 rounds of Swiss draw.
Yeah, the shock of that tournament you spoke of, and as much as they did not get the straight goods as far as their final placing, they remain a team on the rise and have been going all right since then in all iterations. I kind of look to the Open Division as their primary field. They're in the 15 spot in the EUCS rankings.
Yeah, that would qualify them for the big show at the end of the season as things stand, with the top 16 going through.
Toreri and Prior Martin kick things off. That one forward to Fellman. Now Fefe Martin gets it up. Michael, far sideline. Popped, given and gone. Toreri, Prior Martin to Kuzi on the hip, and PUC looking very good and finding the goal. Michael the scorer, Prior Martin with the assist, and PUC marched the first goal in.
Interesting to see Quijotes Dulcineas, which we've handily abbreviated to Q&D on the scoreboard so we can fit it all in, come out with a zone because it's not particularly windy. In the stadium, sometimes you get this swirling stadium effect wind where, with the stand sheltering a little bit, it can be a little bit variable. You get these little eddies, these pockets of wind that can cause the disc to bounce and vary in height, but it's relatively calm and flat. PUC have got a number of very accomplished throwers. Love seeing Maeva Kusi go to work whenever she's playing, and they're just happy to pop and zip this one right the way down the field for the score. For PUC, 3 from 3 for them. They started this morning with a 14-8 win over Skorillas from Bern. Backed that up with a 13-9 win over Out, the Osprey Ultimate team from Budapest in Hungary, and then a 15-4 victory over Munchies from over in NYC. Quijotes and Dulcineas, they started the weekend with a victory over Munchies themselves, not quite as big a scoreline, 12-7. They went down then close to Leftovers, the team from the Czech Republic, 12-10, but bounced back with a victory over Italy's Chimera, 15-5, the final score there.
That one a big win. And the Spanish get things going. Fernandez starts off, moves through Leon Triana. Up line, squeezes one. Goyena pushes forward. Leon Triana. Jocolea. And Quijotes now finding some room. Fernandez from the far sideline. Thought about the around, now looks back to middle. Gets the connection. Leon fires, and Jocolea shows the claws and has a goal hold response.
Yeah, Irina Goicolea might be familiar to a number of these French players, of course, because played with Yaka for a fair few seasons, so kind of someone that we'll be familiar with, but back with our home nation here playing for the Spaniards. Both sides, I think, very clean to utilise the quick, zippy disc movement, try and not let their opponent kind of get their teeth sunk in. They don't want to get too bogged down. Keep the disc going on low stall counts. I thought the transition in the red zone, going from that more flowy style, okay, space is at a premium now. Let's clamp things up a little bit, get a bit more tight and reorganise ourselves, and they just zip that one, break side window to the front of the stack for the score.
And the pole sent. Prior Martin underneath. Goes straight into Dubaudin. Cheminot. Prior Martin finds Fellman. Nice strong right hand. Keep it alive. Prior Martin in the middle. Dubaudin to Cousy, and she can't get the backhand to work for the short distance.
A lot of clutter at the front of that defense there, and they couldn't find a way to get the soft spot in behind.
Monterde goes to bunt. Monterde gets the leader now. Kicked off to the sideline. Leon fires to the middle. Good charging receiver, keeps it alive. Bunt. Leads Monterde to the end zone for the goal. Back corner. Audrichon puts one on the board. It's a break for Quijotes and Dulcineas.
That's a lovely shot there from the Spaniards, really utilising the end zone to its full depth, making sure that you've got to defend every single blade of this artificial grass. First break of the game going the Spaniards' way. It's always important, I think, if you can kind of get that early edge, get that first break on the board, especially because they're going to be receiving coming into the second half.
Yeah, exactly, and they're swinging up here, are Quijotes and Dulcineas. If they knock off the number 1 seed, that will obviously go favorable for them. Taking a win in this game would almost certainly give you the number 1 spot, unless it's a very low margin Quijotes and Dulcineas win.
Yeah, saw their shot at a couple of PUC players on the sideline who are unavailable for this contest. Going to take a look at the setup here of this defense for Quijotes. And if we have a little bit of a pause, you can see there's quite a lot of traffic towards the front here. 1, 2, 3, 4 to 5 defenders in pretty close. And it leaves the space in behind. And they haven't found a way to really access that soft spot well enough.
Yeah, let's see if they can take advantage of that defender density. Toreri to Dubaudin. Fakes the scoop. Toreri to Michael. Far sideline and back again, up line. Caught by Vivas and Toreri. Handlers back to Michael, far sideline. Just resetting around the cup. Now they take the full swing. Dubaudin finds the corner. Cheminot meters away. A little bit of space in front. Now looking back to center. Hands up. No options she likes. Toreri and catches after the bobble. Can't find Meva Kuzi, who was open in the back corner there for a moment.
He was mighty close to fumbling that one out of bounds, but just about able to set himself and get the re-grab in time.
Dubaudin to Michael. Vivas, Kusi. And wisely goes back and tries again. No cut up front where Michael's pointing. Shakes Toreri, now Kuzi. Feldman was crossing but covered up. Toreri looks back the other way. Goes around Michael. Boudin. Michael again. PUC offense just showing their patience right now, trying to find that perfect hole. Dubaudin, the very back. Feldman was there but didn't like the line. Vivas, Dubaudin, patient, still, Michael, faking everything, finds Feldman in the same spot. Now Michael goes back 3 meters on the line, Vivas in the middle, Toreri, good end zone defense here. The scuba finally, and it's the right choice. They waited for it and then took it when it was the only option.
I think there are two ways of looking at this. One is to say it's really good red zone defense from Quijotes and Dulcineas to not, give them those easy options, force them to constantly reset and see if they can coax out the error. The other is to say maybe PUC were a little bit passive into trying to really attack that space and to get the score, saying, okay, it's fine, we'll just keep moving it. Eventually, someone will open themselves up, and maybe you can be a little bit more assertive in saying, no, we're this close to the end zone. We're going to be a bit more driven about making sure that we can score, relatively quickly, because even if they are simple passes, if you keep having to make them, just the chance of an error will increase. It's a simple percentage game. In the end, it's a really nice way to uncork themselves out of the jam. Sometimes you need a little bit of creativity. It forces defenders to respect those spaces a little bit more. That silky scuba over the top was exactly the trick, and Nicolas Dubaudin is the grateful recipient.
Passive, patient, can be seen as the same from time to time.
They do say patience is a virtue.
They do.
I don't know who they are, but they do say it.
I've heard them. 2-2. Advantage, Quijotes and Dulcineas with a break.
I want to say as well, I really loved the positioning of Cheminot for kind of the first half of that point until the red zone possession, because she was just kind of lurking and loitering in one of the corners, thinking, it's okay, it's fine. I know that I'm not necessarily going to be active, especially while the disc's on the far sideline. I'm happy with that because the defender's not really paying too much attention to me. And if we can get out of that trap and we can get the swing on, I am going to be instantly available for that next pass.
Quijotes take over after the pull reception, get one bobbled, but caught Aragonesis, and that one turned over on the far sideline, a throw later. PUC pick up for a potential break back. get the first throw, then shoot deep. Clark, the desired receiver, but just over top of the outreached hands.
I don't hate the look to go for it there because it does feel like there was space in behind. I mean, evidently she had a couple of steps but couldn't quite get the feather on that flick and the finesse that would have been required to get it to hold and bite against the air a little bit.
L'Escalier, the thrower there. So that one escalate just a little higher than his anticipation. Monterde, Sergio Monterde brings it to the line. Fires. Hits there. Aragoneses. Richon using the line up again. Malagari. Monterde. And using the line efficiently until the final throw, just overthrowing.
And when you're cutting quite laterally to the sideline, you do not really give yourself too much of an angle for the thrower to hit. It feels like the throw's got to be quite flat, and as a result, it comes out a little bit more zipped, as opposed to if you're cutting at somewhat more of an angle, then potentially you get the opportunity to give more shape on the disc, and that makes it an easier reception.
PUC moving around. L'Escalier finds Sexton. Waits and finally gets Sexton. Goes low and just gets that one picked up. And hits the lateral cut on the sideline.
That can go.
It's gone. Lambolez with space. That looks good. The chase won't do anything. Two hands, safe as houses for Pauline Lambolez and PUC.
Yeah, break back, get us back on serve. Lambolez is a canny operator, and when that throw went up, I must admit, I didn't see it on the replay. I'd like to have another look and see exactly where Lambolez first was. I mean, there became a moment when it was clear that that had to be the option. But I think there was good awareness to see that developing from kind of a lot of traffic in the centre of the pitch. If we have a look at it on the replay, I'm going to get it on this near sideline here with the underneath cut. You see Lambolez in the centre. She just seems to be not really doing too much of anything, but she notices she has a little bit of lateral separation, and I think that more than anything is what causes the throw to go. If you can get that outside in edge on it as well, that will take it over and away from the receiver. So good recognition there from Lambolez, recognising that my defender's maybe being a little bit lackadaisical here, and I can take advantage of this.
Lambolez staying out to chase another pull.
Same line, maybe? Not quite the same line, but because we've had a flip of gender ratio. But yeah. I mean, you generated a couple of turns. The second one you were able to convert for the break. So ride the hot hand.
Riding the hot hand. Pull gets sent. And Fernandez, who holds off on the first throw wisely, as Leon runs under. Now giving go, Jogolea to Fernandez. And there's a player down calling foul or injury. A PUC player in the middle of the field.
Can't tell you exactly who it is because they're wearing their jersey inside out, so I can't see the number.
Pretty sure it's Paul Marquez.
I back you. Ah, yes, I can see now. He's also wearing odd socks.
That's odd. Fernandez. Trying to shake, goes the offhand, backhand to compromise the mark. The up line throw, Jogolea. Sorry, that's Leon. And tried to force it to Fernandez, and it gets turned over. Braque to Marquez, kicked over again. Castro drops back. Courtier-Ferret throws low and back again. Corner led in for goal. Castro there as PUC put on another break.
Yeah, after maybe a bit of early nerves on that break, now 3 on the spin for PUC to take a little bit of buffer in this contest. I have to say, it does feel like they've kicked on and they've found a little bit of an extra gear. Switching out of that zone defense, matching up one-on-one a little bit more has seemed to help, especially because they're not playing strict matchup defense. They're always trying to get eyes on the thrower so they can see those opportunities to kind of come in, cause some disruption and get poached blocks. It's not the first time this game they've done that, and after the turn, the Blade does the trick for the scoring pass to give them the 4-2 advantage.
4-2 looking strong as they take into timeouts. Hope you're having a great time in or out, wherever you may be watching this one.
Yeah, last game of the day here at Windmill, and a few sides, those in the open and women's divisions, already wrapped up for the day, so I imagine there are some local beverages in full flow already.
You think Iggy Square is starting to populate just a little bit by now, Benj?
If it isn't, then I'll be very surprised.
Yeah, I think it might just be a little bit later in the day than normal that Iggy Square gets the full population over there, but it's all coming soon.
Maybe we should send I don't know, a covert undercover operative to see what's going on.
There's no way we could see all the way over there from here.
Surely not.
There's no means of technology that could help us to that end.
But then we couldn't see exactly what's going on in this Quijotes huddle stuff.
Yeah. That is what we're really after here. The ultimate, the good stuff. Why everybody converges on Amsterdam on the annual.
I always wonder what it must be like if you're trying to give a team talk or maybe do some tactical breakdown and there's just maybe just a little drone buzzing over your shoulder. I wonder, certainly I think the first couple of times it happens, you're probably maybe a little bit unnerved by it, and then I imagine the more you play with it, the more used to it you get. But at first, yeah, it's got to be a little bit off-putting.
Yes, like swatting away a fly when you're trying to give a formal address. But yeah, this fly's actually sending back all of your words to the public to watch and see. So PUC will be sent to pull. Seemingly ready after the timeout. Here it comes, Bench.
Yeah, both sides get 2 timeouts to use again.
Pull.
Oh! It's not going to come back in, though.
It's not. They're so close. I thought we were getting a pole dinger there.
I mean, it did ding a pole, just not that one. One of the poles that are holding up the advertising boardings on this near side. You can see what the plan is there. Go for that big arcing trajectory so that it comes back in over the end zone, so you don't get a chance to attack it and get a little bit more yardage. But the risk for that is if you don't get it back in bounds is that you're surrendering all that field position and it's going to come in comfortably in their own half.
Yeah. Easy choice for Sergio Monterde and Quijotes Dulcineas.
Yeah, there's no wind really, so you're not worried about being pinned on a wind sideline. There does seem to be a call away from the play. There was a lot of contact on that up line cut.
Yeah, this is going back at least 3 throws.
Just to protect you. I think that you extend your left arm. I'm just a bit. Because you're right. Okay? Well, do nothing. I think. It's okay.
I think they're deciding that maybe there was contact. If there was contact, how much did it affect? And actually, the play was kind of going on away from that. So we can talk about it after the point.
So back into play, Ricardo Bunt. Ooh, flippers one back hesitantly to Monterde. Nice grab by Richon. Oh, a clap of doom there, the catch and release.
It sounded so much like she had that, and I'm not quite sure how she doesn't.
Yeah, a strange phenomenon. As Courtier Ferret picks up for the Paris outfit, gets the under, Clark. Clark leads. Marquez fires, big meters if this one connects. Great pickup, trailing edge, Flora Girard.
That's ludicrous. I think she is very rightly being mobbed by her teammates on the sideline. When that disc went up, I was very skeptical. It seemed like a spurious shot, an advantage of, I'm just going to put this out to space and back my receiver. I don't think he intended it to go quite so far out to space. With that angle as well, it's always going to go away, and knows that she has to go with the trailing edge and put the body on the line, and it rolls and comes up from the cork with the disc in hand, and another PUC break.
A little backslide included in that and all. Just a heck of a play being made to make that throw actually look good.
Because it wasn't a great throw. Let's be honest here.
You've heard me say it a million times, Benji. Every exceptional catch comes on the heels of a mediocre throw, and that very much the case there.
I'll be honest. Whenever I play Frisbee, which is never, that's my job, is to make other people look good by throwing them suboptimal passes.
Well, then you're probably really good at your job. Role player Benji Reese.
And yet somehow I don't turn over, famously. It's incredible.
I can vouch for the man.
Mm-hmm. How many other members of our team didn't turn over at CFC, Steph?
0.
Oh, that's interesting.
0 other members.
That's really interesting.
As Quijotes Dulcineas take over. Alvarez in the middle, Jocolea. Backfield, nice catch. Leon continues on, gets it again. Led forward. Monterde is Alvaro, who we haven't seen much of yet in this game. I believe he has... Oh, that takeaway there. Yoinkage is right, Benj. And PUC go to Michael now with a very short field. Braque, the block getter. L'Escalier fires but misses, even as Lambolez tries to throw herself down.
Good opportunity there, intercepting as well, so you can get on the fast break, but Quijotes and Dulcineas were able to put on the brakes a little bit there, just slow things down, and then trying to get the cut into a really small window, and wasn't able to execute the throw.
Monterde to Leon, and then a tight catch there. And sent deep. Monterde versus Michael, and absorbs the bounce. 19 on 19. Michael doesn't like the contact, calls the foul. And now they will discuss.
You can see what the plan was there from Alvaro Monterde. Really force him out, create that box before giving himself the face to run onto it afterwards. And Michael feels obviously that he was maybe a little bit too physical in trying to create that space and that buffer.
But like, because you were doing that and I was doing like this, and it's just like that, you don't know it. I understand. I think I'm really trying to go around you. And you really don't
I kind of see his point.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, I'm not sure he was getting there because of the box out that Monterde was creating, but I do think he was probably a little bit over-physical in doing so.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. All said, I think Michael's got the right to make that call. Yeah, I think the box out was great, but because he put that right elbow
he just
into
leaned
him,
into it a little
kind of gave the flipper, and I think that's enough to justify a foul. Look here, the right elbow and the shiver, just a little bit of a push off. I can understand Michael feeling robbed there. Otherwise, Monterde did a great job of running the route and keeping him away, knowing when he could take the last step towards it. You just got to avoid the contact.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if you look at where the contact comes compared to where he catches the disc. That's how early he tries to create the box out, which is a really good way of doing it. Don't make it contested at the point of the catch. Do your hard work early. In the end, they're agreeing to disagree, so they're going to contest it and send it back.
Back it goes. Alvarez with the disc. And we're ready to play. Disc is in. And violation. Let's try this again. Disc is in. Alvarez shakes. Jocolea gives on the change of direction. Pops one behind Monterde, and that'll result in a turnover.
Feels like Quijotes de Dulcineas, they don't really want to get onto the sidelines at all. They're trying to keep everything funneled down the centre of the field, and that's really compressing the space that they have to work with, but thrown right back into their hands. Evidently a miscommunication.
And right back into the end zone after that. And it is Monterde who ends up opening up, getting the goal from Leon. And Quijotes happy to unwrap that gift as they got the disc back right in front of their scoring zone.
Yeah, miscommunications happen. I still think PUC, remember that is the D-line again. They generated a couple of break opportunities even though they couldn't take any. And switching to the matchup defense really has caused the Spaniards to be under a lot more pressure. And if we have a look here, once Guecolea fakes it and pumps it down the centre, what you're seeing here is that if we just give it a little bit of a pause, again, there's not a lot of lateral space to work with. Everyone's in this sort of space here. I've made that a little bit more, not quite the right angle, but you kind of see the point I'm making here, where this is quite a small horizontal section of the field, and it means that you're more than likely to get poached defenders in the way, just running through traffic more than anything. So if we roll it again, Guecolea fakes and then pumps it into the centre, but as they're trying to get back towards the sideline, the throw goes down one line and the cut comes down the other, and that causes the turn.
Yeah, the clutter helping out Quijotes there to get it back. Well, helping out PUC there, but Quijotes do get it back, find their way in with the short fields, and are within two, but have just really stemmed the flow after 3 breaks in a row against.
Yeah, it was a big hole for them there, not only because they fought through some offensive problems and were able to get it done on the board, but it just takes a bit of the air out of PUC.
Toreri fires, sends deep, the chase is on, looks good, because it is good. Touchdown, Donatien, the recipient. 2-throw offense, bench.
I need to watch that again because I'm not quite sure how they gave him so much space to work with. If you're the Spanish defenders, you've got to be aware that that deep shot is always potentially an option, because PUC have shown that they are happy to throw it. They have athletes who are more than happy to try and stretch the field in a receiving sense. Their offense hasn't been on the field for the last 3-4 points, so you could understand that they might come in a little cold, but it's just a straight cut down the centre of the field. As a thrower, it's exactly what you want to aim at, because you've got the whole field, the whole end zone to work with. It doesn't matter if you're a little bit angled one way or the other, but Toreri really leans out over it, so he's got his body weight, his centre of gravity over that disc a little bit to try and prevent it from blading too much as well. Yeah, beautiful throw, perfectly on point. The cut arcs right down the centre of the field, and as an offence, you could not be happier with that. And speaking of could not be happier,
libations.
Thank you to Tim, who is the as well as being the Swiss straw.
I thought he
king.
Was the actual algorithm. They're lying and saying it's a Swiss straw computer, but
it is just Tim, as far as I'm aware. But he has multiple strings to his bow. Multiple glorious golden strings.
And we just missed what happened there, but I can tell that it is a pickup on the doorstep, so something with the pull or the first throw is where the turnover went, as we looked away for a second, and Lambones crashes in for a goal, and that's as quick as a break as you'll find, but besides a pull, Chase Callahan.
I mean, devastating there from PUC. Just picking up on the end zone line and the lean back to create a little more angle and separation, and he really zips it in to Lamboles. PUC are all over their opponents at the moment. Here we go, here's the turnover for you. First pass never comes because it just weasels its way through the grass.
Pull drop.
Never like to see a drop pull from it's Arturo Alvarez, the unfortunate player on this occasion, and it happens. You know, you wish it didn't happen, but it does happen. You've got to pick yourself off, dust the cork off your jersey, and go out there again.
I've even dropped a pull.
I have never dropped a pull.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I field the pull that often.
I have. I've dropped enough.
But the thing is, I still think it's the right thing to do. If he lets that hit the ground, I think you're putting your offense in a really bad situation, because he was fairly deep in the end zone, so you're waiting the couple of seconds because he's catching it a little bit before it would hit the ground anyway. So you'd wait a couple of seconds, it'd be right at the back of the end zone, the defense would be right there in your face, you know, and that's a catch that you back yourself to make, you know, all the time, because, you know, you're not being marked, there's no defender. Sometimes that's actually the problem, because you think about it a little bit too much.
Bing, deep shot goes and gobbled up in the lane. Taken away, and PUC have a chance to make him pay once again.
It's the center of the field again. They're continuing to try and drive the disc down Broadway, but it's never happening because there's always an intermediary defender in there.
Back in the hands of Marquez. He gets a gainer to Braque. And then Girard sends deep. Caught and long jumped in. Marquez misses on the heel spike, but gets the more important break goal.
I think what you're seeing there is a tale of two deep shots. The one from Guacalea, flatter down the center of the field where there's traffic, and then on the other end, the shot comes down the sideline from Girard, and it's got a bit more angle on it. It was a lovely inside break to start things. Guacalea doesn't get the edge, doesn't accentuate the inside out to take it around that defender, but we see here the shot from Girard where she steps out and she puts that outside in, the bit of roll curve edge on it to make sure that it's going to shield away the defender. They're not going to get a shot at it until it's already in the end zone and it's already in the receiver's hands, and it's an 8-3 lead for PUC at half. They are demonstrating why they're top of the Swiss draw.
They are just rolling right now. This tournament's theirs already, Benji. I'm saying it right now.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Oh, God, maybe I spoke too soon again.
There is plenty of Windmill still to come,
yes,
and there's plenty of this game still to come, Steph.
Plenty of this game still to come. Don't you go anywhere. It's halftime. PUC 8, Quijotes Dulcineas 3.
The 2025 club season is upon us, and Ultiworld is bringing you all the action. Ultiworld is the best place for live video, news, highlights, and analysis of your favorite teams and players. Make sure to subscribe for our extensive live coverage of the USAU club season, including the thrilling club championships in San Diego in October, exclusively on Ultiworld. Get the ultimate news you need to know with the Deep Look podcast. I'm Charlie Eisenhood.
And I'm Keith Rayner, and together we bring the games, names, and moments in Ultimate to your podcast feed. We talk Ultimate's biggest news from on and off the field, about and with the people making it.
And every week, we go live on YouTube. Come join the fun, the trivia, the picks, the analysis, and more, Tuesdays at noon Eastern Time.
We'll see you there.
Windmill, mixed division, second half. PUC up 8-3 over Quijotes Dulcineas right now. I'm Stefan Rapazzo. Right next to me, the infinite well of ultimate knowledge, Benji Reese. We having a good time out here or what, Benj?
I love Windmill. It's one of my highlights every year. It's a little bit different. You never quite know what you're going to expect every time round. A bit later in the year than we're used to having it, and that means some of our friends and teams that we're used to seeing here aren't in attendance, but it provides the opportunity for others to step up to the plate. And PUC are doing that in spades, top of the Swiss draw rankings by some margin, Steph. And an 8-3 lead at the moment over Quijotes and Dulcineas, who, lest we forget, were in third before this contest, and they are... I think with a big win to here, they've pretty much sealed their spot in the quarterfinals already.
I would say so, and you know, I get excited and make audacious claims from time to time, not the first time. I'm loving seeing PUC playing this well. There are so much left in this tournament, a lot of teams that can still definitely emerge into challenger ranks.
I mean, if we're looking at some of the other teams who are in and around that top 8 of the Swiss draw, Guayota have a 9-6 lead on leftovers, Zurich, Zayu. They've got a 7-2 lead over Tiki Taka from Dubai. Freestyle up 7-6 on Savage. Scorillas up 8-6 on Out.
It's all happening as Monterde fires looking for Jocolea, but can't get the hand up quick enough as she got just a bounce of separation from Lamboles.
Yeah, PUC with a chance to start the second half in much the way they ended the first, by getting their D-line to get the turn and get the break. Not been perfect for their D-line, but
efficient.
Only 1 point where they've got the disc have they not converted. It's been scary stuff, in all honesty.
Near perfect, you're saying. Courtier Ferrer goes into the middle, finds L'Escalier, now Lamboles. Waits and gives the short lateral, Braque. Girard. Wanted the low backhand, then waits, develops to L'Escalier in the flat. High take. Nice catch, Courtier Ferret. And back to center for Braque. Sideline shot, Girard is there. PUC materialize another. It's 9-3.
There's a beautiful break throw to do it as well. Getting wide, getting low, zipping it around and underneath the mark, right into the gut of Girard, who'd had an outsized offensive impact on this game. I think it is fair to say. There's the shot that doinks off the hand of Goicolea, and then really utilizing the fakes on the force to get that mark manipulated and moved around. I think a criticism maybe of Quijotes and Dulcineas is that they're not really doing that enough. They're making their attentions clear too early, and not only is that meaning that the force is getting an easier job because they're not having to move around before, they're not having to maybe gamble and set the body weight, but it also means downfield, the players, they can read the eyes and they know exactly what you're looking at, because it's very clear that you're not altering that field of vision, and it's always into the same spaces.
Let's play in the team game.
Speaking of team games, are we entering a team into the beer race later, Steph?
I guess we have to. I mean, for the spirit of the tournament, it seems like the right thing to do.
Have you done one before?
I did one.
Did you?
Actually, no, I never did.
No, you didn't.
No, I did do one.
I don't remember you doing one.
No, I think last year I lined up for it, and it was... I did. I've never done one. You're right, Benji.
It's all right. I'll sign you up with some of our production crew who also haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I'm keen enough. Well, actually, I don't know if I'm keen enough, but I'm willing.
I know you're not.
Willing. Jocolea to Monterde, left hand, sticky, fires, sends high. Roger's in front and takes it away. Roger goes inside. Donatien, who showed speed earlier chasing a hawk, goes really wide. Roger shows the honey hand. He fires deep, looking for Boutinon, and that one, they just kind of misread both of them. Monterde sucked in. Receiver.
I think with the turn as well, Monterde, as soon as he threw it, he almost let out a guttural roar of how can I have committed such a heinous error. Fortunately, the huck going the other way from Michael wasn't up to snuff either.
Underneath comes Aragoneses. Leads for Alvarez. Giocolea kicks over. Irureta pops. Monterde in the corner. Monterde finds the corner this time for the goal. That one gets in. Is it the 91 shirt? I'm not seeing there. 31 shirt, of course, is Garcia Urureta Goyena.
Very good stuff. I think what I liked about that possession from the Spaniards is you can see they're just a little bit more active on what they're doing with the disc. They're not catching it and static at where they want to go. There was a little bit more pivot, a little bit more drop in the hips to try and get that mark, guessing a little bit more. Evidently they're listening to us up here in the booth.
Well, why wouldn't they?
You know what? You're so right, Steph.
They should be listening always, Benj.
Yeah, I want this to be like at other you know, at other grounds when you see people like at the snooker or at the cricket and they've got their earpieces in on the sideline or in the dugout listening to the commentary. I think there's no excuse for not doing that.
No, there's none. Should be taking every advantage available, and listening to the professionals is surely an advantage, Benji.
Famously, we've never been wrong, ever.
Never, ever, ever.
Well, I haven't anyway. Don't find examples of that. That wasn't an invitation.
They would never find one, Bench.
True.
Here's the pull. Toreri. Deboudon back to Toreri.
Zone's coming out now from the Spaniards again.
Bangs one deep. Prior Martin. Oh my goodness! Smacked into the face nearly of the trailing receiver. It's Emma Sexton who somehow caught the block.
Marin Malagare can't quite believe what's happened. The deep shot, he saw that there was a lot of defenders in close fields. Well, let's go route one then. We'll just bang our way through this zone. Torrieri has got a live arm. I don't think it's a particularly good read there by the receiver. He gets too far underneath it. Huge swat over the top from the defender there, and it would have been tricky for him to catch that with the receiver in position as well. So I'm not going to call him out for the catch your Ds, but it would be a good example to say why you should if you've got the opportunity, because if you catch it, well, then that never happens.
Yeah,
and
you can avoid letting Emma Sexton make catches with her chin.
All the Mac line practice evidently coming in handy there.
Wow, what great reflexes by Sexton. Unlucky indeed for Malagari.
I think it's one of those where you slap your hands and be like, you know what? Fair enough. I did what I thought I needed to do. Sometimes, if the game's not with you, it's just not with you.
Yeah, not much more you can do there.
I think most players who've been around the game long enough know that every now and again there'll be an oddity like that, and you just have to clap your hands and say, fair enough.
Roll with the punches on that one.
I'll offer more sacrifices to the ultimate gods.
Alvarez wanted to lean in the backhand, does a second later. Giocolea to Monterde. Fights for the upline, cut, that one sticks, Leon. Centers, Fernandez around, Alvarez. Back to center. Near sideline, into the red zone. Gallego goes back now, Monterde, high release. Giocolea fires, sends, foot not down, or down but not in. Gallego tries to get around, now goes back to center, Alvarez. No backhand available. Less than 5 meters out, floats one up and in. Monterde there to receive. That puts 5 on the board for Quijotes and Dulcineas.
Yeah, PUC were really able to slow them down in the red zone, but they made a concerted effort to make sure after cuts, if they weren't thrown to, clear back into the centre, because they're trying to create that space on the far side so they can get that one-on-one, that isolation. You'll see it again on the replay, the space that they create for Monterde to attack.
Been a better second half for Quijotes and Dulcineas. They did give up a break on the very first point, but have managed 2 holds in a row since then. And after a bit of a slip and slide in the first half, there's some reassurance there now.
Yeah, that's their first clean hold since their very first O point. So it's been an error-prone run in the intermediary spine.
Ready to pull. And Michael runs under. Dubaudin thinks about stepping into a forehand bomb, but just resets and gives to Michael again. Straight back, Dubaudin, Vivas. Looking at a Quijote zone front. Michael tries to isolate, does find Dubaudin behind the zone. Now the attempt to swing, but happy to stay in that corner right now. Over top, that little blade cuts out some space. Donatien, and then Michael fires for the end zone, but the crossing defender manages a finger on that one.
I don't know if the defender did get a touch or if Michael just came out undercooked.
I thought I saw a Mac type movement of this, but I could definitely be wrong. I was looking back up from one screen to live while that happened.
A little mid-air correction. That was the slightly dicey moment of the possession, at least I thought.
Oh, you're
and
right.
Maybe I think a bit of both. I think there is a little bit of a touch, but I think the disc was underthrown regardless. So we're both right, Steph, as we always said.
Well, the best case scenario. The under comes. Lopez pops back now. Bunt to Monterde. Leads and hits. Ureta. Wind up and send deep. Richon, the intended receiver, but over the head and sails just a bit too far.
Feels like Quijotes really needed that to find their way back into the contest. With the cap rules here in the mixed division, 75-minute games, they're a little bit shorter because they play one more round of Swiss draw than Open and Women's. But the way the cap goes, when the hooter comes on, or I say the hooter, the jingle, you finish the point, and if you're not within one at the end there, then the game immediately ends. So you cannot afford to let a team escape too far away into the distance, or you'll just be timed out, which normally you don't get in Ultimate. One of the great things about the game normally is that you have to score that final point to win, and it creates those dramatic comebacks and collapses. But yeah, in Swiss draw play, it doesn't quite work that way.
I heard Hooters has gone belly up. Is that because the jingles have taken over?
Must be, Steph.
Michael winds up, fires. Donatien, the intended receiver. Catch in the corner. Now has time. Can he isolate? Get the break around. Chemino. Back corner, 12-5. PUC. Zip their way from one end to the other.
I do like the way that they space out that zone offense, PUC. They don't get all too tight in. They're staying connected, but they are very conscious of the fact that there will be a lot of players near the disc, and if you spread out a little bit, if you can get past the teeth of the defense, then there is space in behind, there is space out wide. Michael this time losing it deep. Donatien on the receiving end, and I think that what you saw there with the key moment was just he looked around a little bit, but he stayed stuck with the force there. It's so tempting to do that and try and stop the throw going off. But because there's no other defenders there, what ends up happening is that actually you've got to, if they can find the throw off, and when it's tricky to hold a force because there's no defender downfield anyway. So what's even the point of forcing in one direction? It's all, as soon as the throw goes, that's it. It's pretty much goal is good. Normally, I think what you want to do in that situation is you want to drop off and take the runner there, because at least if you can stay tight, maybe you can force the thrower to hold it a little bit longer. Make sure that they can't quite see that free option, and it means any defenders that are then coming in to join the play, they've got less room to go with, and they're not running past the existing defender.
Sent. Monterde runs under and puts one on the board for Q&D. They're playing some serious catch-up here, and they got one the quick way. Nice huck reception there.
Yeah, we saw one of those earlier in the game from PUC, and this time it's the Spaniards' turn to get a simple pull play drawn up, send someone deep right down the centre of the field. Cannot really ask for more. Have a look at it here, where it's just what you want as an offense. Get on the field, score quickly, get the D-line back out there.
Effectively done for Quijotes on this calling. Can they now keep the D-line out there? That is what they've had.
And
very much difficulty in doing in this game. They
if
were
you see,
first to break, and since then.
So if you see this here, Steph, look at the vision there of the thrower. He's got right down the centre of the field. There's no traffic there. He can see that there's not a covering defender, and the area that he's got to look at here is massive. He's got that whole end zone to aim at. So much space, and it's tracked down right to the very back of the end zone for the score.
Love seeing that one again, Benj. Thanks for it. As this one's going to be brought back into play by Tazio Toreri.
I think, just to go back to that previous point, it's one of the advantages of having that horizontal setup as well, is that you get the clear cutting lanes that develop, and if you can make sure that you spread yourselves evenly across the field, which they did there, which PUC did earlier in the point as well, you don't have to get it over any other defenders. You've got a nice flat open lane to throw into. That's a lovely break throw to get it off this near trap and into a little bit more space from Mariana Vivas.
Ooh, and then taken away on a layout. One throw later, Malagari sends the body, and Quijotes Dulcineas on the pickup. The around throw works from Bunt, and one throw later, it's smacked away. Dubaudin is now in conversation with Ponce de Leon.
You're going to have a little bit of discussion about it here, Steph.
Foul accept looks to be what's shown.
Yeah, good use of hand signals there. Again, very civil discussions.
We'll stay with Q&D. Ponce de Leon goes in the backfield, gets again. Leads for goal and hits. Quijotes and Dulcineas, a little bit of a collision after the play. Lopez, the goal scorer for Quijotes and Dulcineas.
I don't think she took too kindly to the bump afterwards from Cheminot, but I'm pretty sure that was accident. There was no malice in it. Good to see that the spirits are still high for Quijotes and Dulcineas, and you see there that it's not a Q and D jersey. They've got Q jerseys and D jerseys, and you were getting a little bit of background on the origin of the team name, because you kind of didn't understand. Is it not a bit lazy just having two teams and mashing them together? Before it was explained to you, Steph.
Yes, it was explained to me, but I still didn't understand exactly why, because I'm not a literature buff, let's say. The book Don Quixote, one of the
a seminal classic.
A seminal classic. There you are, Benji. So
have you read it?
I have not.
No, me neither.
I thought you'd be able to pick up the pieces for me.
But yes, the kind of his female counterpart is evidently Dulcinea.
All right.
So you've got Quijotes for the men and Dulcinea for the women.
It makes sense then for them to be a Q and D as the merger.
It's just a little bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
It is a mouthful.
Why don't we just merge it, be like Quijoteneas?
Wusion.
I know you like a Wusion.
Dulcotes.
Dulcotes sounds like a luxury gelato flavour, actually.
Oh, God. You're talking my language now, Benj. PUC from their end zone. Kuzi goes out. Donatien to the sideline, back to Kuzi. Toreri looks up. Donatien, but the hammer. Nice throw to Roger.
Beautiful.
Roger Michael looks up. Donatien goes down. Nice pickup on the goal line. Turns around looking for the goal now. Will probably take the dump. It's Prior Martin. Toreri has something to look at. Has Prior Martin, but what about that layout grab by Donatien to set it all up?
That did not deserve to be caught, because it was not a great throw. The hammer over the top to really uncork the possession was a ripe, juicy peach of a throw. Delivered perfectly on. It suckered the defender in a little bit and then realised, no, he can't get it. Began to bail out. And I think that created a little bit of confusion where Dulcineas then began to try and attack underneath, and then he realised, no, I've got the space in behind. And again, the disc doesn't quite have enough on it, but he's able to get low and scoop it before it picks up that cork. And then doing the right thing outside the end zone. Let's not force it in, let's play it outside. And the eventual goal scorer is Félix Prior-Martin, who's one of your former charges, I believe, Steph.
You better believe it. Worked with him on his... I have 3 players that I coached that are on this PUC team, both Lambolez and Fellman, when I was a coach of Révolutionnaire, the women's side in Paris, and of course Félix Prior-Martin when he was a part of Is No Good, not in Paris, in Noisy-le-Sec, just outside.
Right, but this is like Clapham saying, oh, we're not from London.
Yeah, they're from Paris. Yeah. I'm like, they won't like me for saying it, and I would say it to their faces.
To be fair, they do. Noisy-le-Sec does have its own mayor,
yes.
Whereas I think, you know, those teams on the outskirts of London still very much have the mayor of London. And as far as I'm aware, I've not seen Sadiq Khan at any Ultimate tournaments enjoying the festivities when one of his teams win a title.
Get out there, Sadiq.
But that might be because Clapham are boring, who knows.
Monterde with the disc on the chisel up line, low and kicked out to the corner. Back towards middle, wanted to give it straight back, but well covered up. Alvarez leads for the goal in the corner, and that is Leon to put one on the board, making 8 for Quijotes and Dulcineas.
Possession had a much better rhythm about it, didn't it? Weren't getting bogged down in high stall counts. Even if it wasn't the instant dish out of the hands, which we saw on a couple of occasions, they were still getting it off early, 3-4 seconds deep, rather than 7-8, which is when they really seem to struggle when things get bogged down. Just trying to keep it moving, and the strike cut comes nice and early, the slashing en passant style cut towards this near side of the end zone, delivered early and true, and Leon gets on the score sheet.
13-8, still a very advantageous position for PUC. 2 away and 5 ahead. Feeling good about life. $12-8 rather, 3 away. 3 away, 5 ahead, 4 ahead. Still advantageous. Still feeling good about life. Closer to the finish line than your opponent is to you.
It's always a good position to be in. It's just a question of, can we make sure that we're playing to our utmost towards the very end and we're closing out the game in the way that we should, to make sure that we are giving our Swiss draw coefficient the best possible boost.
You mean Tim?
Yes, I do mean Tim.
Vivas.
Making sure that the Tim ratio is high.
Prior-Martin. Dubaudin, Vivas. High release to Prior-Martin. Cheminot. Prior-Martin, and slowly chipping through the zone. Cheminot back to Fefe, as he's known, Félix Prior-Martin. Upline, Kuzi, miss and bailout by Michael. Oh, but that is a ground strip, I think.
I think it is.
He was like getting back up, but you gotta kind of hold on to it the whole time.
So I think he's saying that it was he lost it because of contact with his own teammate.
And he's going to get a point there.
He has got a point, but I think if it's your teammate who strips you, you're bang out of luck.
I think I'm with you, Benj.
It's unfortunate, but
you can't call a strip.
Them's the breaks.
Can't.
That's my interpretation of the rules, at least.
It's my interpretation with yours.
Yeah, but if it's on someone else, it's not a defense, you know. It's fine.
Turnover accepted in the end.
It's unfortunate, but I agree with it.
And And Quijotes pick up and see if they can take over on down. You see Michael, he wants to get that back after that play. Ponce de Leon fires. It's a blade. It's hanging up there, and it is taken away by Prior Martin.
Yeah, did not like the trajectory of that throw. Got way too much air underneath it. Really ballooned on him, and that means it's going to be easy for defenders to at least cause some coverage pressure at the end.
Cheminot. And a break around by Michael Dubaudin to Cheminot. High count, and then the low throw, and a short field gives a very good opportunity and a score to Quijotes and Dulcineas. Uroreta Guayena with the goal.
They're coming back into this one late, Steph, and it's not out of hand. I mean, the clock is working against them slightly, but if you can score this next point quickly, all of a sudden it's 12-10, and then the Hootigos maybe during that point, and if you score all of a sudden you get another break, it's 12-11. This is smart from PUC. Take the time out here because you're taking time off the game clock, and it means that actually there's less time for Quijotes to get a quick break, which is precisely what they need if they want to take this to a proper cap. And the overhead there hits the floor, and this is just really switched on from Ponce de Leon. Just a little lead up the barbecue or dad backhand into space. Pablo Garcia Uroreta Guayena with the score.
And the magic ratio has moved to even now. 3 ahead, 3 away. So you're right. They are chipping their way back in it as we have another look at the mixed rankings. This was prior to this game start, of course.
I think this is live updated because some of the other games going on at the moment will have wrapped up.
And we see a new number 2, I believe.
Yeah, Guayota have surged up the rankings, so PUC's lead isn't quite as strong as once it was. Although they are sitting pretty, and with a win over the currently third-place team, you'd imagine that they would keep that spot going into day 2. But I know a story of many a team that has been sitting pretty after day 1 of Windmill, and then come day 2, things are very different after an evening of activities. Who could possibly say why?
Who could possibly say why? Oh, make sure you get yourselves to Windmill.
To confirm, it's the beer. That's why.
Couple French fans in the stands cheering on PUC there. That's members of Saltimbanque and some players from PUC that are inactive.
So the game that really affected the standings there was Guayota polishing off a 15-10 win over Leftovers.
Bang.
Leftovers, of course, who beat Quijotes Dulcineas.
So I did say at the start of this tournament, despite me in the middle of this game claiming, no, it's PUC, we'll win it, my early pre-tournament prediction was Guayota.
That's disappointing.
Why?
Because that was my pre-tournament prediction as well.
Ah.
And that's not as fun.
Not as fun.
But, you know, we think...
You look at that roster and there's some logic that goes with it.
I think too often we think of them as purely a beach team because we don't really see them on grass. But the last major tournament they attended on grass, Elite Invite 2022, they were the champions.
Yeah, right. Don't forget about that. Don't sell them short because they excel on the sand. Michael, recipient of the hammer, back to Prior Martin Toreri. Prior Martin to Michael. And back and forth they go. Donatien gets the up line and then another chisel. Toreri sends the hammer. Bang! For the goal. Cheminot is under it. And now it's a legit 13 for PUC.
Yeah, that might be the dagger there because not only is it extending your advantage, but late in the game it means that that's one more point that Q&D will have to close in time before the cap goes off. And at this point, you need to score an offense and get another break in before the hooter goes. And I just don't think you've got that time left in the game. PUC, all they need to do is, you know, keep things steady. You're not extenuate it too much. You don't have to time waste necessarily, but just, you know, utilize the full time you're allotted. You know, you're in no hurry to get the game back on, and I think you can see out the win, although if it's up to me, I want to put my foot down on the throat and close it out as much as you can, because, as we've seen before, you need to get every single Swiss draw point possible, because I think every year at Windmill there's a team who misses out by as much as a single point. And look, even when there's more data, if you look at the EUCS rankings last year, where Heidi's missed qualifying for EUCF to essentially a single point to Isno.
Yeah, you got to play the system, and the system says every point matters. So play it. $13-9. There's the pole. Quijotes and Dulcineas hoped to settle under, but it sails out the side, and Alvarez will bring it to the brick mark. Alvarez brings it in, cuts, initiate before the pivot foot lands. Giocolea underneath, charge, quick distribution. Monterde, now Fernandez into the red zone with immediacy, and another quick distribution in and out of the hands of Monterde. Morrison, dump Fernandez. Leads to center, Alvarez turns around, eyes to the end zone. From the center, dump around. Fernandez, clap catch just in front. Leon looking back to center. Monterde, who's been great on the give and goes, leads to the corner. Giocolea, but I see a pick being indicated as the play was about to let the dust settle.
Yeah, it's not a surprise, because I think generally offenses are at their best when they've got clarity about what they're doing. For the first half of that possession, Quijotes and Dulcineas really had that. They were clear what they wanted to do, get it out, dish it in their hands quickly to handlers running through, and they're seeing the field develop in front of them. And they've got into the red zone, and that's not so much of an option. And you've got players really crossing over each other, and it's almost inevitable that those picks will occur.
Alvarez gets the first throw, quickly let in Leon there for the goal, and after the stoppage, Quijotes and Dulcineas materialize the break.
Yeah, the stop has actually worked in their favour a little bit there, because it did give them the opportunity to get that clarity of, okay, now we can take stock of exactly where we are, which is often difficult to do during live play. They can say, actually, we've got this clear space and we can set the one-on-one. We back us to just swing that off there, and then you can break the force for the reset in towards the end zone for the score. But here a bit of Ennio Morricone in the background, which is the end of game jingle, so I believe that this will be the last point, whatever the outcome.
Ennio Morricone, how do you know who this artist is, Ben? So you get a finger on the pulse.
If you think of Western, like old school Western film music in your head, like, you know, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, whatever, which I think that one might be from, it's Ennio Morricone.
All right. Benji knows his score composers.
And if it sounds like John Williams, it's John Williams. Otherwise, it's Hans Zimmer. There you are. That's who did the film. There's who did your film composing. Actually, that's not true. I've left out Danny Elfman. I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board on this.
All right. We'll check back in with you after this point. Vivas to Prior Martin. Dubaudin. And PUC navigating the Q&D zone. Kusi, Vivas and Kusi once again amidst the cup. Around and backwards for Prior Martin. Kusi to Vivas. Michael, and they're back out of their own red zone and back into it. Vivas, Prior Martin winds up and sends, hoping Michael can get all the way around, but defensive position all throughout that flight.
I'm not quite sure what happened there, because that was there was no one there. There was no one there except the Quijotes defender. What a strange throw. Whether he tried to get it to go across the field and just did not get the trajectory right at all or what, I don't know. But yeah, bizarre throw.
I mean, I think that's got to be the hope, was that it would go sailing enough and get a bit more carry left to right, that it would get over that defender. But yeah,
you'd need really accentuated outside in to do that and get a lot more, not just outside in, but angle that blade a lot more, and it just didn't have anything like enough.
Elbow got to get up for that one.
It's an awkward release, but yeah, did not get it right at all.
And into play, Quijotes and Dulcineas. Oh, and dropped, or just thrown low and quickly picked up. Is there a foul call on the mark? And Prior Martin accepts. I think he was really rushing to put it into play the other way, and then accepts the foul once he hears it when he comes running back. Or seems to have. I thought that's what we saw, but they're still chatting.
I think maybe he was just indicating what he was doing on the force.
Benji, what do you think they should do?
Let's have a look at it on the replay. We can't quite see it on that one. My expectation is that they will contest it, and that is exactly what has happened.
Coming in on stall 3. From the corner, get a little bit of breathing room now. Aragonesas looks for center. Monterde. Oh, and a bobble out of the hands and to the ground. Ponce de Leon. Michael on the pickup. Dubaudin gives 2 cuts and opens up in the backfield. Michael wants to isolate. Open for the dump. Dubaudin back to Michael. Steering towards that front corner now. Centering again. Backhand. Prior Martin can't readjust in time as the throw sent him in the wrong direction.
He came mighty close to just about scooping it. It wasn't to be.
Quijotes and Dulcineas. Around and never in, and that should come in on the goal line.
Does seem to be what the sideline's indicating. I think that's what the discussion is precisely where we are coming in bounds, and it looks like it is going to be on that end zone line, or at the very least just in front of it, because of course the line does not belong to the field.
From the corner, Dubaudin goes all the way across now to a massive humanity, picked off by Quijotes Dulcineas Monterde.
Did not like the way they set that up at all.
No, that did not work. Nothing worked about that. Monterde crosses the field. Irureta then sends deep. Giocolea has a chance to turn back and run towards it. Now wide open. Audrichon there for another, and that's another break, Benji.
Yeah, just taking advantage of the fact PUC, maybe not the right frame of mind after squandering an opportunity to finish the game there. And so Dulcineas will be finishing on a break, even though it's not enough to continue the game at this point in time. Just running out on them, but a nice deep shot to Giocolea, who continues to stretch it over towards the near side of the field for the score.
Yeah, not enough to get the win, but enough to have a major improvement in their ranking that will come with this. Remember, it was 9-3 and 10-4 a major lead for PUC, but the second half fight back by Quijotes and Dulcineas will salvage their ranking. They should remain in the top 8, I would imagine, for sure.
If we look at it here, so this is just after we get the first movement from the stack in the center. It's good coverage on this close defender here, but if we look at where the disc is compared to where the rest of the field is here, there's a huge gap between her and there, and it's making it so difficult because they're so disconnected that if that first option's covered, they don't have a secondary person to hit. And if we continue rolling it from here, the reset's also going up line into that same space. It's very cluttered and congested on the high stall. Dubodan thinks, well, I may as well try and get something up. Quijotes answer quickly, and they're able to work the full length of the field for the score in the end.
And always interesting when a goal scored ends the game for a win for the other team, but precisely the case with some of these hard cap rules that we get jamming these tournaments in, and in this situation it is Quijotes and Dulcineas who get the last score, but PUC who do escape with a 2-point victory. 13-11, still the top of the table, looking good. It is the end of day 1 here, Benji. It's been a wild first day at Windmill.
Yeah, it really has. We've seen great plays all over the shop. That's potentially the play of the game there. A ludicrous layout from Flora Girard. But Quijotes, you mentioned they were down big, 10-4 at one stage, and to bring this back to within 2 at the end, that'll do their Swiss draw coefficients a world of good. Otherwise, they could have been sent spiraling and crashing out of the top 8.
No crashing for Quijotes and Dulcineas, but PUC managed to find their way ever forward at the top here, get the big win, tidying things up at the end of day 1 here at Windmill. For Benji Reese and the Ultiworld crew, I've been Stefan Rapazzo. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll catch you all next time.